Hey guys, Jay here. I'm going to do a quick rundown on the settings I have for the Garmin Striker 4. I've had a few people message me and ask me what settings I'm having to use or how I find the unit, and I love it. I think it's really good. I'm glad I bought it. Definitely affordable. So I've just powered it on and I'll just do a quick rundown. I typically use the traditional mode. So you hit the check mark to get into it. I'm not sure how well this is turning out. And I'm not on demo. This is just my settings, so because I'm not in the water, we're not getting a proper reading. But this here's your A-scope column where you would see your lure moving up and down. And this here's your bottom read along with which will fish targets. Okay, so right here with the 3-line button, which is like your options menu button right here. Okay, so I have my span set to 20 feet, and I was in about 19 feet of water. If I remember right, the last time I used it, I usually give myself a buffer of an extra foot. So if I'm 19, I could set it to 19, but I always go a foot past it. The gain, I will set this. Right now it's auto high, but I will adjust this if I'm getting interference from another piece of equipment or electronics that's near me. So you know, if you're fishing with your buddies and you're getting a lot of distortion or weird feedback, adjust your gain. Your gain also helps you zoom in and give you better clarity of what your unit is reading below you. The frequency, I prefer the 77. I get a better read this way, the 77 kilohertz. You can go up to 200, I believe, but I would only do that in really deep water. But because I'm fishing, 20 feet or less, some days I'm in maybe 10, 12 feet of water. So the 77 kilohertz is the proper setting for me and for this unit. The zoom, I have the bottom lock on. The outlay numbers, I'll show you. I have navigation as auto, compass tape is off, device voltage to show, depth to show, water temperature, auto, and time of day. I have all that set. I'll put this into a demo mode just so you can see, but I have a few more things to show you first. So sonar setup. Depth line I have as hide. Scroll speed, I don't know how this is turning out on the camera, sorry. Scroll speed I have as fast. Appearance. So the color scheme, I've gone with the classic blue. You'll see that when I light it up. You can change this to whatever your eyes prefer. I prefer the classic. Edge I have as off. A-scope I have on because I prefer to use it. I like to use the A-scope. And the fish symbols I have off just so I'm not cluttering up the screen, or I just prefer the layout. You'll see what I mean. I prefer like the targets or the marks that are upside down boomerangs, for lack of a better way to say it. If I put the fish symbols on, it'll look more like an older traditional fish finder. It'll look like goldfish, the crackers. Ha ha ha. Okay, so noise reject. I have as interference is low, surface noise is hide, and TVG is medium. Transducer type, I'm using dual beam. I prefer that. If you want, I can show you. You've got, see the difference in frequencies here? And you can also get into the Minn Kota motor guide settings and the heavy Garmin ones. But I'm using dual beam with 277 kilohertz. And again, I use the 77 kilohertz if I'm in shallower water. If I was deep in 25, 30, 40 feet, I would be using the 200. But the 77 is perfect for shallower fishing. I used this all last winter and I used it to great success, you guys. Bottom search limit I have as auto. And then sonar restore defaults. That's the biggest thing, is I took all of the defaults out and adjusted these as I was doing it. I had help from a couple of buddies that were fishing with me. But what I'll do is I'll come back to here. If you want, I'll show you the flasher mode quickly. So again, I have the same settings, but because I'm not on demo and not in the water, it's just showing you this. But as you can see up top here, it'll give you your depth up top, your water temperature, and your voltage. So I've still got a good charge. And man, you can fish a whole weekend on one charge. I can fish an 8-12 hour day and I'm not even down a voltage. Like, this is a great unit. You can see I'm at 77 kilohertz down here. And then also your depth. If you're at 40 feet up here, it'll also show it here. I'll get into a demo mode and show you in a minute. Split frequency, I've used this quite a bit. It makes your screen a little smaller, but then it gives you both beams, which is your 200 kilohertz and your 77, and you have an A-scope column in both. Now if you were to hide A-scope, it would take those two columns out, these two right here. But I prefer to see movement of my jig because, you know, this unit will show you a fish chasing your lure. It'll show you coming right off the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go into the other part of the settings here. So system, you can see what I have here. Display, I have backlight 100%, color mode, auto. These are things you can adjust on your own to your liking. Beeper alarm only. GPS, I'll let you see what I have there. I have it as WAAS, Angos off, and speed filter is auto. Auto power off. Language English. System information, I haven't really done too much with this. Factory settings I stay away from because, like I say, I've set it to my liking. So we're going to turn on. Okay, so getting back out of this, I've just turned on the demo mode. So I'm going to go to traditional first. Now you can see the A-scope here, and you can see the fish marks. Now if you put it on the fish symbols, these marks which look like fish would look like the little stereotypical fish shape. I prefer this. This is what I'm used to. And honestly, when I'm fishing, I don't get a lot of these humps. I get more things like this, like the caterpillars. And I'll see them on the bottom, and if I know they're sitting around 2 feet, I make sure that my lure on my A-scope is sitting around the 2 foot mark. And, you know, I give it the action that they're hitting on. If it's a slow day and they're not accepting an aggressive presentation, then I slow it down, but just make sure I have it in the target area. If they're at 2 feet and 2 feet. Now here's the A-scope. So this is really busy from what it normally is, but just so you have an idea. You see this yellow line here? So we'll say that's the jig, and then the minute you get the red connection, that's a fish chasing it. So what will happen is you'll get your yellow mark of your jig right here. Then you'll get a yellow mark of like a fish coming up off the bottom to get the jig. When you get that red close in and then it's like that, that's when I jig aggressively, or I hold it real still, but in that spot, because that means that yellow target has met the other yellow target, which is your jig. And when they meet and they're right at the same strike zone, it goes red, and you know to anticipate the hit. Just make sure you wait to feel it. You can make the mistake of pulling it away before you've actually felt the strike of the fish. And in some cases, if they're hitting soft or nibbling, you're better off to let them take it for a second. But that's it. That's the settings, guys. If you want, I can also show you how it looks on a flasher mode. Okay, so when you drop your lure, it's backwards from traditional flashers. But if you drop your lure, you got to watch. It usually picks up around here, and then you'll see your line dropping, and that's your lure dropping to the bottom. This here is indicating a 28-foot depth or a 29. Now it's reading 30. I don't know if you can see that. 32. So it's really not reflecting it properly. I guess so. It's catching up. But when your lure drops and it comes down and hits the bottom here, we'll say, that yellow line, it would be your jig. And then if you have a red line and the yellow line come off the bottom, and then it meets your right here, see that? That right there is indicating a fish striking. I mean, it'd be better for me to show this outdoors when I'm actually using a fish, but it gives you an idea. And then split frequency with it. You got an A-scope, 2 different columns, one for the 200 kilohertz beam and one for the 77, and then your fish marks. Now, if you go with fish symbols, this gets really cluttered up, even worse than this is. This has been an awesome unit, guys. It's fantastic. If you've got any questions, let me know. Or put them in the comments. I'll run through something if you're missing something. But again, that's the settings I use. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any suggestions or concerns or comments, please put them down below. Please like, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.